Long huddle up around Adolph Rupp as LSU breaks huddle with their veteran coach Harry Ravenhorst, who incidentally always keeps the hat on the bench, and the Tigers move out. Here's Kentucky breaking huddle and coming out to the center of the floor as we stand by now for the start of tonight's ball game. Ed Beck at 6'7", will have 1-inch height advantage in the pivot against Joe White, a redhead. Now here the center stand in. Ball game ready to go. It's underway as Beck slaps twice and LSU's got it. Dom Merle gets it in backcourt. He passes one over to Crisco, back to Merle. Fakes one down the right side and then gives to Sigler. It's back out deep. Then on the right corner it goes to the pivot White. Then from the outside, jump shot good by Troy Rushing. First field goal of the ball game and LSU leads 2-0. Cox on the left side for Kentucky. Pumps and misses. Off with the rebound is Sigler of LSU. Out to Dom Merle and the Tigers with a 2-0 lead. Go back to the attack. Up in front court, Jim Crisco. Fakes left, comes right, gives to Sigler. Back over to Merle with Calvert on him. He gives to Crisco, back to Sigler as they go into a three-man weave on the right side. Dom Merle pulls up, gets the pass out deep. Moves back to the right, gives to Sigler. Then back out to Crisco. All this action on the right side of the court. Merle moves out with it. Fakes to Sigler, who broke to the free throw line, and gives to Crisco. Crisco moves back out deep with it. Tigers slowing it down, playing a deliberate pace with a 2-0 lead here early in the ball game. 1 minute gone by. Outside, Merle with it now. Passes off to Sigler. Takes a 20-foot jump shot. It's good. LSU's had 2 shots, and they lead 4-0. Kentucky's moving it up the back court now. Johnny Brewer crosses the dividing line. Gives a high one to Ed Beck at the free throw line. Back to Calvert, over to Brewer. Into Beck. Defense sinks. He hooks. It's no good. Tapped off by LSU and taken on the corner by Crisco. Kentucky unable to hit. Each team getting 1 shot at the basket, and the Tigers hitting each of their 2 shots for a 4-0 lead. Sigler and Rushing, the dangerous forwards. Here's Sigler with it on the right side. Feeds Merrill. Krigler takes it away from him. Goes down one-on-one against Sigler, who stops him out deep with it. Passes to Calvert at the free throw line for a 15-foot jump shot that's to the right. No good. Taken off by Krigler. He lays it up. The shot's no good, but a foul. The first one of the ball game is against LSU's 6'6" center, Joe White. We played 1 minute, 40 seconds. John Krigler of Kentucky is the first man to appear at the free throw line, and he's got 2 chances as LSU leads 4-0. Krigler's first shot, good. So Kentucky breaks the scoring ice from the free throw line as 6'3" John Krigler finds the mark. Krigler's second shot is in and out, taken off by White of LSU, who flips it to Merle, and the Tigers command a 3-point lead at 4-1. Now back in front court with it slowly is Dom Merle. Merle passes down the left side to Rushing. Out deep to Crisco, and on the left to White, who pulls off the pivot. Beck playing him loosely. Back out to Crisco to Merle. Calvert went through to get it. Couldn't find it. Over to Rushing. He's left open from the side. He misses. First LSU field goal that's been missed. Goes out of bounds untouched. And Kentucky takes over with Calvert whipping it into Johnny Brewer. Brewer moves up in front court. Passes down the right side to Krigler, who dropped it out of bounds to LSU. On the incoming pass, Krigler took his eyes off the ball, and it slid through. Now here's the ball being thrown in by Sigler, who stepped in bounds with it, and it goes over to Kentucky on the right side of their offensive court. Johnny Brewer out of bounds. Kentucky trailing 4-1. Passes to Cox at the free throw line. He breaks to the left, hooks it up too high. No good. Krigler taps, comes out. Taps again. No good. Tapped up by Cox. By Beck. No good. Fight for the ball. LSU can't get to it as Beck picks it up, gives out to Calvert, and he has it taken away from him by Dom Merle. Merle going down one-on-one with Calvert. Pulls up, shoots. Good. Dom Merle gets a field goal, and LSU leads 6-1. The longest lead of the ball game after they got in front by 4-0. Johnny Brewer down the right side to Krigler, who moves out, fakes to Calvert going by, gives to him, and from the right he shoots in and out. Krigler taps up, Calvert rebounds, gives to Krigler, wide open, who lays it in. John Krigler gets Kentucky's first field goal of the game. After 3 minutes and 5 seconds of play, it's LSU 6, Kentucky 3. Crisco walks back into the LSU front court. Crisco, a 6'1" guard, passes over to Merle, who moves to the left side, gives to Rushing, cuts to the free throw line, jump shot over Calvert, comes off the rim, tapped up, no good by White, taken off by Kentucky as Krigler rebounds, fades to Johnny Brewer, running down the right side to Calvert, back to Brewer, through the middle, lays it in, driving on a hook shot. Johnny Brewer with his first field goal cuts LSU's lead to 1 point. It's 6-5 as the Tigers go back to the attack. Dom Merle, Utica, New York senior, moves back in front court for the Bengals. Junior correct us on that. Passes one over to Crisco to Sigler on the right side. He's got Krigler on him. Sigler takes a one-bounce dribble, wearing a knee brace on the left knee, then passes to Merle on the right side. Set shot, bounces off the rim, tapped up by White, no good, rebounded by Beck, double-teamed and fouled from the rear by Dom Merle of LSU, committing his first foul. Clock stops with 16 minutes and 4 seconds here in the first half of play. Ed Beck will go to the Kentucky free throw line for the first time tonight, shooting one on a foul committed under the LSU basket by Murrell. Beck on the line now, puts the right foot up, draws the left slightly back, and hits his first point against LSU. That, incidentally, is his college career total, as he played last year 2 games against LSU, but scored in neither in its 6-6 ball game. Bonus shot, no good. Rebounded by Johnny Cox. Takes a dribble, shoots it, no good. Here's another foul. This one's against Troy Rushing of LSU, his first one. And so, with Kentucky able to pull even for the first time in the game, Johnny Cox will shoot 2 free throws for the Cats, who have hit only 2 out of 4 chances. Here's Cox, first try, up and no good. Ball hit on the back of the rim and bounced off. Cox, a 6'4" forward, shoots the second one, good. And Kentucky, for the first time in the ball game, is leading 7-6. LSU walking it up the back court now as they slow play down. Jim Crisco crosses the dividing line. We've played 6 minutes. Down the left side to Rushing, out to Crisco, down to White, who comes off the pivot to the left side forward slot. Back out to Crisco, back down the left to White. A 1-2 bounce dribble, picks it up, whips out to Murrell. Murrell down the left side to Sigler, who's got Cox on him this trip. Out to Murrell, working it very deliberately now for the Tigers, and they trail by 1 point. Murrell passes over to Murrell, who moves to the right. Down the side to White, back to Crisco, to Murrell as they go into the 3-man weave with Sigler, with Rushing on the pivot. Murrell breaks through, and he's cut off by Brewer. Can't get a shot away. Hands off to Sigler, breaking through to the left. Jump shot over the rim to Ed Beck of Kentucky. Rips a pass to Calvert, and it is a 3-3 break with Calvert passing left side to Cox. Fakes to come out with it. Goes to the baseline, out of shooting position. Throws it under the hand of Calvert and out of bounds. LSU takes over, still trailing 1 point, 7-6. We've played 5 minutes with 15 to go here in the first half at Baton Rouge. Walking back is Jim Crisco of LSU, passing to Rushing on the left side. Murrell goes through, gets it. Brewer's got him covered. Hooks a pass out to White. On the left side to Rushing again. So moves back out deep with Cox on him. Passes over to Sigler. Down the right side to Jim Crisco. Crisco retreats from Calvert, coming out deep with it. Passes over to Murrell. In the pivot to White at the free throw line. He turns, shoots, Cox deflects. It comes off the rim to Johnny Brewer of Kentucky. Cats have the ball with a 1-point lead. On the right side to Ed Beck and fakes a shot, then flips to Krigler, who takes a 15-footer that's short, bounces off to LSU's Dom Murrell. So the Tigers, for the second time, have been able to stop Kentucky without a point when the Cats were leading 7-6. Jim Crisco calls timeout as he hits the dividing line. And it's the first time out of the ball game called by Louisiana State, with Kentucky leading by 7-6. So far, LSU leads on field goals. They have 3. Sigler, Rushing, and Murrell hitting. For Kentucky, Krigler and Brewer have the field goals. Krigler has a free throw, as does Beck and Cox. And each man, Cox, Beck, and Krigler, that has hit a free throw has also missed one. Well, it's a 7-6 ball game with 14 minutes, 18 seconds here in the first half of play. And it apparently is going to be a slow, deliberate game as Louisiana State feels that the chances lie in their favor by slowing it down and trying to prevent the Cats from running. Kentucky fell off the pace in the early part of the game when they dropped behind 4-0 in the first couple of minutes of play. They were able to catch LSU at 6-6, and then with a free throw by Johnny Cox have gone ahead 7-6. That's where the score stands. And as the warning horn sounds, we go back to play with LSU in possession at midcourt. Dom Murrell will put it in play. There's no change in either lineup. LSU has height on Kentucky out front. On the back line, Kentucky has the height advantage. Ed Beck at 6'7", the tallest man on either team. Here we go back to play as Jim Crisco has it bounced to him by Murrell in backcourt. He walks past the dividing line with Kentucky's guards playing loosely defensively. Here's the pass over to Murrell, fakes down the left side, pivots, takes a one-bounce dribble, looks left, and gives to Rushing, who comes out to meet the pass. To Crisco to White, who comes off the pivot to the left side. Sigler breaks through, but the pass is back outside to Crisco. Down the left side to White, who's played very loosely by Beck. Passed out to Murrell down the left side to Sigler this time. Back out to Murrell, moves to the right and hands off to Crisco. Fake to come left, went back down the right side with a pass to White. Back to Murrell, breaks in, pulls up as Beck switches off on him. Out to Rushing and in front lines to Crisco. Kentucky leading 7-6. 7.5 minutes have been played. Now here's the handoff to Crisco to Murrell as LSU weaves. 3 of them on the right side. The other 2 pull off on the left side. Here's the pass to Rushing. To Crisco in the right corner. Shot no good by Rushing. Taken off by Krigler, who has to fight to hold on and has it knocked away finally out of bounds by Troy Rushing, and it goes to LSU. The ball left the playing floor, and the Tigers will get possession with 13 minutes and 25 seconds in this first half. Kentucky 7, LSU 6. The ball has been corralled here in the Coliseum, Agricultural Palace. And out of bounds, putting her in play, LSU's Jim Crisco. Calls his play. Here's a whistle from the baseline and a foul against Troy Rushing of LSU. As they executed the play, Rushing committed his second personal of the game. The clock, incidentally, did not move. Jerry Calvert of Kentucky makes his first appearance at the free throw line. LSU has committed 2 of its 4 fouls offensively. Calvert, both feet right up to the line, strides for a 2-handed free throw, sights, and from between the knees, hits it. Kentucky has its longest lead of the game at 8-6. Calvert gets a bonus shot. Gets ready, sights, up between the knees. Calvert's shot's good. That's the first bonus shot Kentucky has hit tonight, and they lead 9-6. Longest lead of the game for the Cats as LSU walks up the backcourt. Jim Crisco, the 6'1" transfer from Kilgore Junior College, moves across the dividing line with Jim Beersdorfer counting the 10-second count against him. He gives over to Dom Merle, who moves to the left side, hands to Crisco. Calvert switches off on him as he moves down the side. Back out to Merle, gets his screen, drives, shoots, and Beck blocks it. Taken off by White, hooks it up, short. Johnny Cox rebounds for Kentucky, has him away running. 3-on-3 with Calvert starting down the middle and shooting no good. And Joe White rebounds, but Calvert stabbed forward and missed it, and the pass is over to Troy Rushing. Calvert lays in backcourt, so Rushing doesn't pass. He moves on up past the dividing line for LSU. Hands it off to Dom Merle. And the Tigers go into their right side play again with the pass to Sigler, who takes it back to the outside. Passes over to Rushing as the guards take the forward slots. Now Dom Merle, who gets it, moves back out front with it. Passes deep to Sigler. Over to Jim Crisco. Over to Merle. Down the left side to Rushing. Crisscross off the pivot. Nobody gets open, and Rushing moves out to the free throw line. Passes on the right side to Merle, who fakes a shot, moves out, turns his back to the basket, and passes deep to Sigler. Then he passes across the front lines to Crisco, back to Merle, back to Crisco, down the left side to Rushing. He's got Johnny Cox playing him. He moves out. Cox stays with him, and he passes to Sigler. Then a pass down the right side on the bounce, and then right back, and a hook up by Rushing. No good. Rebounding Krigler of Kentucky. Up to Johnny Brewer. Moves up in front court for the Wildcats. Goes down the middle, and it's knocked off his knee. Krigler recovers. Shoots. No good. Johnny Cox goes for it. Beck rebounds, gives to Brewer. 15-footer, rolls off. Cox taps it up, no good. Cox rebounds, shoots, no good. Knocks it back outside to Beck. He fakes a shot, double-teamed, and here's a whistle. Foul against LSU's Jim Crisco. Ed Beck of Kentucky is on the line, where he has hit one and missed one. This trip he has one free throw coming. Beck shoots and misses. Cox gets the rebound, hooks and hits. Johnny Cox with his first field goal. Each team has 3 field goals, and Kentucky leads 11-6. 11 and a half minutes here in the first half at Baton Rouge as Crisco of the Tigers walks past the dividing line. Down the left side to Merle. Moves over, gives to Rushing. Free throw line deep on the left side. Out to Crisco. Pass down in the left corner to White, who takes a one-bounce dribble. Passes in under the basket. Sigler gets it, lays it in. Roger Sigler is the first man in the game to get 2 field goals. Krigler in front court collides, and he's charging against John Krigler, his first foul of the game, as he broke down the right side and collided with Jim Crisco. Kentucky commits its first personal of the game. They went almost 9 minutes without a foul, 8 minutes and 54 seconds without a personal, as Jim Crisco goes to the LSU free throw line for one shot. Crisco, a right-hander, puts the right foot right on the line, sights, and a one-hander is in and out. Taken off by Johnny Cox of Kentucky, loops a pass over the head of White to Calvert, breaking down into Kentucky's front court. Passes out to Cox over to Brewer on the left side. Brewer has it taken away from him by Crisco. Flips it blindly, and it's saved by Troy Rushing. So Kentucky has possession without getting a shot then. Now Jim Crisco walks up the backcourt, across the dividing line. Kentucky leading 11-8. Crisco moves it down the left side, passes to Rushing. Out to Merle, moving to the right side, giving to Sigler, who comes out with it. Gives to Crisco as they go into the 3-man weave. Rushing moves to the right, breaks for the basket, shoots over Calvert. Shot off the rim, no good. Rushing rebounds, shoots one up there that comes out, no good. Tapped by White, no good. Taken out by Krigler, knocked away. Brewer races in, and Merle beats him to it. The LSU drives in, gives to Sigler for a 10-footer that's good. Roger Sigler gets his third field goal, and Kentucky's 5-point lead is cut to 1 at 11-10. Here's a high pivot pass to Beck, who's knocked to the floor by Dom Merle of LSU. And for Dom Merle, that's personal foul number 2. Ed Beck of Kentucky is on the line, where he has hit 1 and missed 2. Wildcats have a 1-point advantage. Rushing and White of LSU have the inside rebounding slots. Here's Beck shooting, hitting. Kentucky leads 12-10 as Beck goes on the line for the bonus shot. 10 minutes and 9 seconds here in the first half at Baton Rouge. Bonus shot, no good by Beck. Cox slaps back over the head of Beck and is taken by Sigler, who goes down one-on-one against Calvert, shoots from 10 feet and hits. Roger Sigler, with his 4th field goal of the ball game, makes it 12-12 as LSU's outscored Kentucky 6-1 since the Cats took their 5-point lead. Brewer from the outside misses. White rebounds for LSU. Tigers catching the spark now. No activity on the Kentucky bench as Coach Harry Ravenhorst waves both hands to Dom Merle to slow it down. He's going to walk right now. Past the dividing line, gives to Sigler, who moves out. Down on the right side to Merle, back to Sigler as they go into the 3-man weave on the right side. Whipped in to White in the pivot. Turnaround jump shot, no good. Slap down, who's got it? Krigler of Kentucky. Passes up to Johnny Cox, moving 2 against 3. Down the left side, turns and passes out to Brewer. Double teamed, he backs away and hooks to Beck at the top of the circle. Off the right to Calvert, fakes the set, moves in, pulls 2 men to him and gives to Beck. Beck moves into the 3-throw line, gets to Krigler for a 10-footer that's no good. Nobody under the basket for Kentucky, and it's hooked off by Sigler over to Dom Merle, and the score remains 12-12 with 9 minutes here in the first half. Dom Merle crosses the midcourt stripe for LSU, looks down the left side, then passes across the front lines to his teammate Jim Crisco. Down the right side to Sigler, who faked the break, pulled up one outside with it, and gives to Merle now on the right corner. Merle passes out to Rushing, breaking through. Brewer hooked it off his foot and out of bounds, and Kentucky's got the ball. Jerry Calvert of Kentucky gets out of bounds, hooks a pass into Brewer, who lays it right back to him. Back over to Brewer, crossing the midcourt stripe. Kentucky 12-12 with LSU. Down the left side to Krigler, who moves out, gives to Brewer. 15-foot jump shot, it's good. Johnny Brewer gets his 2nd field goal. He's the only Kentuckian with 2 field goals as the Cats take a 2-point lead, 14-12. Crisco walks up into front court for LSU as the Tigers slow it down. Passing over to Merle. Moves to the left. Rushing goes through. He watches him and gives over to Crisco. To White on the left side. Out deep to Merle. Moves to the right. Packs back out deep to White. To Crisco. Stands holding the ball. Brewer not putting any heat on him. Over to Dom Merle. Moves to the right. Gives to Sigler. Top rim of the circle. Pulls up. Hooks over to Merle. We go into the last 8 minutes now, this first half of play here at Baton Rouge. Kentucky leading 14-12. Down the right side to Sigler, who's near the corner. Moves out with it, hands to Merle. Merle cuts in to go and then backs away at the top rim of the circle from Krigler. Passes out to Crisco, who sets up again. Passes over to Merle. Down the right side to Sigler. Kentucky made a switch then in order to get Krigler back on Merle. Passes from White back up the side to Crisco. 7.5 minutes to go. Here's Merle with a 30-foot set shot that's no good. Misses the rim. Comes off to Johnny Brewer of Kentucky. Brewer moves up in front court. Watches Beck go to the pivot. Fakes one down the right side. Flips over to Calvert. In the pivot to Beck. Calvert goes by. Gets the pass. Wide open. Lays it in. Jerry Calvert gets his first field goal of the game. Kentucky leads 16-12. The Tigers had them 12-12. Crisco walking back in front court for the Tigers. We got 7 minutes here in the first half at Baton Rouge. Crisco moves to the right side. Hands as he moves in front of Sigler. And a 25-foot jump shot is short off the rim to Brewer. Passes up to Calvert. LSU's got the defense set. Merle hooks the ball away from him, but it's picked up by Krigler, who has it knocked away by Merle out of bounds. And Kentucky gets it at the baseline to the left of the basket. Ed Beck strides out of bounds to put it in play. 6 minutes, 40 seconds here in the first half. Kentucky 16, LSU 12. Deep pass by Beck to Brewer. Beck moves out on the pivot, free throw line high. High pass by Brewer right under the basket to Rushing, and Krigler behind him fouled him. It's the 2nd foul against Kentucky, both against Krigler, and as we march the length of the court, let's take 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.
WVLK, Lexington, Kentucky, 1 minute, 30 seconds past 8 o'clock.
Bill Cassidy is in the Kentucky lineup. John Krigler is out. Cassidy, a 20-year-old junior, is from Inez. 6'2", weighs 191. On the LSU free throw line, Troy Rushing for the first time tonight. Shoots, and it is good as LSU gets their first free throw of the ball game. Bonus shot coming to Rushing. Cassidy this season's averaging 3.4 a game with 31 points. Best night Monday against Loyola when he got 8. Bonus shot by Rushing is good, and Kentucky's lead now is only 2 points as Cassidy drops it coming on the fast break in the front court. Crisco gets it for LSU, and the Tigers are right back in possession. Kentucky 16, LSU 14. LSU playing a very slow, deliberate game. The Cats trying to run against it. Here's Merle moving to the left side. Pulls up, hands off. Moving down, Crisco for a jump shot. It's good. 20 feet to the left side. Jim Crisco gets his first field goal of the game. And it's tied up 16-all. Cassidy on the left side moves in, pulls up, passes to Calvert. Looks to Beck on the pivot, then takes it back outside to set it up. Down the right side to Cassidy, who's playing a forward. Brewer goes through, pass to Cox. Knocked down by Merle. Taken by Crisco. 2-on-1 against Calvert. The pass is over to Merle, and it's deflected by Calvert. Out to White as the fast break's destroyed. Out for Sigler now. 16-16 ball game, and LSU's got possession. Crisco out deep. Passes right side to Sigler. Then it's to White at the top of the circle and back to Sigler. Kentucky making a trip down the floor then without a shot. Ball game tied. Here's the pass to Rushing, who takes it into the right corner. He's got Beck on him. Whistle from the outside, and the foul on Johnny Cox of Kentucky. Away from the ball, his first one of the game. And Joe White, who he was battling for position, is on the free throw line for one shot. 5 minutes and 26 seconds here in the first half, and LSU has a chance to break the 16-16 tie. Joe White, the 6'6" redhead, shoots and misses. Tapped to Rushing and picked up by Cassidy of Kentucky. Up to Johnny Brewer, who drops the ball, moves back, gets it, hits Calvert with it, and he holds on. Passed over the head of Beck to Cox on the right side. He's left open, and his shot is short, no good. Beck taps on the boards, no good. Rushing rebounds for LSU. Oh, the Tigers are back in possession. Crisco standing in backcourt now into a walk. Comes into front court with 5 minutes to go here in the first half. Setting it up for the Tigers. Passes on the right side to Sigler. Breaks through the passes out to Merle. Hooked down into the right side to White. Back to Dom Merle. Over to Crisco. Down the left side to Rushing, who dropped it. Picked it up on one hop. Out to Dom Merle. Down the left side to Sigler. Pumps under the basket to White. Fakes back, and the jump shot's good. Joe White with his first field goal of the ball game gives LSU the lead 18-16. LSU has rattled off 6 straight points, destroying a 4-point Kentucky lead. Calvert down the middle, lays it in driving. Jerry Calvert's second field goal. The Cats tie it up 18-all. Dom Merle gets it on the bounce, passes right back to Crisco as they talk it over, walking up the backcourt with it. Now Crisco's in front court, over to Merle, moves to the left side. Here's a break, knocked down by Calvert, picked up by Cox and fed right back to him as they break up the pass. Whipped over to Brewer on the fast break, lays it up and in. Johnny Brewer shot that one about belt buckle high for his third field goal, and Kentucky, down 18-16, has whipped off 2 field goals for the guards, Brewer and Calvert, to take a lead of 20-18. We're into the last 4 minutes of the first half. Crisco of LSU passed the line, bounces one down the right side to Sigler, who breaks Cassidy, blocked the shot off his hands, and it's picked up on the side by Rushing. Whipped in there to White. Right back to Rushing in the left corner. Outside to Crisco. Breaks to the right. Gets his screen. Goes down against Cassidy. Lays it up short. Tapped by Sigler. No good. To the outside. It's taken off by Crisco. And a whistle from the baseline. A jump ball is called. Crisco 6'1". Cassidy 6'2". Gives Kentucky 1-inch height advantage on the LSU free throw line. 3 minutes, 33 seconds here in the first half. Here's the toss. The tip to Calvert. Goes in against a tight defense. 2-on-1. Takes a 10-footer. Too high on the board. Slapped up into the air and taken by Joe White of LSU as Calvert hits the floor out on the free throw line, trying to jump with him. Over to Troy Rushing, who moves up in front court with it. Kentucky still leading 20-18. Over to Dom Merle, who moves down the right side with it. Gives to Sigler. Bounce pass out to Crisco. Moves down the right side. Gives to Merle, who brings it out deep. Merle faces Crisco. Gives to him as Crisco moves out deep with it. Back over to Merle. Down the left side to Rushing. Out to Crisco, down the left side to White. Sigler goes through, gets the pass. Cox knocks it out of bounds, goes to LSU to the left of the basket over the baseline. We're into the last 3 minutes of the first half. Kentucky leading 20-18. Jim Crisco, 6'1" guard, stands out right in front of the LSU basket to call the play. Quick bounce pass right in front of Brewer. The inbounds pass is on the left side of the offensive court to Sigler, to Rushing at the free throw line with Cox on him, over to Merle on the right side. Pulls it up over his head, moves out on a one-bounce dribble and gives to Sigler, who hands to Crisco deep end straight away. Now Crisco over to Merle, moves to the right side, comes inside giving to Sigler, back to Merle. Then here's a whistle from the baseline, the pushing foul against Calvert of Kentucky. It's his first one. Clock stopped with 2 minutes and 33 seconds in the first half. And LSU's Jim Crisco's on the free throw line for one try. Kentucky holding a 2-point advantage. Crisco stands in for the shot. Cocks the arm and shoots. In and out and back in. Bonus shot, giving Crisco of LSU a chance to tie up the game. Crisco sights, shoots, good. 20-20 ball game as Kentucky takes possession. Calvert in front court to Johnny Brewer. Moves to the left. Crisco knocks it away from him off his knee and out of bounds to LSU. Now Murrell goes into a walk up the backcourt for the Tigers. We've got just a little better than 2 minutes to play here in the first half. Murrell moves to the left. Cox switches off on him. The pass is out to Rushing, who's picked up Calvert now. Rushing, by the way, stands 6'3", 4 inches taller than Calvert. Switches back on Murrell as he gets the pass coming back out deep. Murrell moves in on the right side. Hooks one to White to the right of the basket. One bounce dribble and out to Murrell on a high two-handed pass. Murrell to the right gives to Sigler, who drops the ball. It's picked up out front by Rushing. Rushing fakes hands off to Murrell as LSU overloads to the right. Now balancing court as Crisco gets it deep and straight away. 20-20 here in the first half. Down the right side to Murrell. Murrell out on the right side, gives her to White. Right back to Murrell. Murrell moves down the right side, hands to White. Out front to Crisco, a minute and a half to go. Rushing takes it on the right side. Watches White take his pivot position in front of Beck, then passes out to Dom Murrell. Murrell tom-tomming the ball, moving slightly to his right now. Passing to Troy Rushing, standing deep and wide to the right. He moves down the side, gives in the corner to Crisco. Crisco gives to Sigler, breaking through to the right, and a jump shot over the rim, knocked down by Calvert. It's out of bounds. As he and Murrell battle for it, LSU gets it. Kentucky 20, LSU 20. 1 minute here in the first half at Baton Rouge. Dom Murrell out of bounds to call his play. Lines him up, whips in on the left side to Crisco, who breaks out to the free throw line, goes down the middle and shoots. It's good. Jim Crisco with his second field goal gives LSU the lead. 22-20. High pivot pass to Beck. Watches, gives to Calvert. Spins in, gives to Cox, who lays it in driving. Johnny Cox with his second field goal ties it 22-all with 38 seconds to play here in the first half. Southeastern Conference battle on even terms here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Crisco of LSU now just walking back across the dividing line for the Tigers with 25 seconds to go. And a pass goes over to Murrell to Sigler on the right side. Sigler moves out deep with it. He's got Cassidy on him, who stabs for the ball and then hooks a pass across front lines to Rushing. 15 seconds to go. Down the left side to Murrell, who glances up at the clock showing 11. Hands off to Crisco. Down the left side to Rushing, back to Crisco. Takes it in the left corner. 5 seconds to go as Sigler shoots. Back rebounds for Kentucky. Gives a pass to Johnny Brewer, who shoots from 60 feet over the backboard and up into the stands. So the halftime shows Kentucky 22, LSU 22, as we're deadlocked here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Well, we've seen a ball game that's been slowed down by the Tigers, and they've been able to stay in it with the Wildcats, who came into the game rather heavily favored. Somewhat shorter. He's only 6'3", gives back 4 inches height advantage, so let's see how he uses it here. The tap is deep to Johnny Brewer, who lets it hit and scoops it up on the bounce and backcourt over to Calvert and right back to Brewer. Second half, 22-22 as we go to it. Here's a high pass, hooked into Beck, knocked down by White and picked up by LSU's Jim Crisco. Kentucky's guards are going to pick up play defensively out front as Brewer stops Crisco in backcourt with it. Bounces one down on the left side to White. Right back to Crisco, who moves down the left side, gets a screen, gets open, shoots. Brewer blocks the shot. White picks it up, loops an outside pass to Rushing and out deep to Murrell. Murrell moves to the left on a one-bounce dribble. Pivots. Kentucky playing very aggressive defensively here now in the second half of play. That's been the noticeable difference made so far. LSU apparently is making no change here in the offense. They still slow her down, playing it deliberate, weaving on the right side with White shooting, missing from 10 feet. Tapped up in the air by Beck, taken by Calvert. Moves up on a 4-on-3 break with a high pass to Krigler under the basket, and as he shoots, it's taken away from him by Crisco, who hooks to Rushing. 3 men go for him, and it's knocked out of bounds. Goes to LSU. 53 seconds have been played here in the second half. Kentucky's had the ball twice, but have not scored. Out of bounds, Murrell whips it in. LSU had to bring all 5 men down court as Kentucky put the press on. Murrell just now crossing the dividing line with it. Got Calvert on him closely. Crisco out deep. Got Brewer closely on him. Then has to go right to the dividing line to get the pass from Murrell, who moves down the right side. In the pivot to Sigler, who has it taken away from him, but Beck, he drops it, picks it up, gives to Brewer, over to Calvert. Cats have it back. Each team's had the ball twice now without a score in the second half. In the right corner to Cox, out to Calvert. In the pivot to Beck. Fakes a hook shot, gives to Cox, who moves into the corner, comes back up the right side. Bounce pass to Brewer on the baseline. Jump shot rolls out. Krigler taps twice, no good. Knocked out of bounds by Johnny Brewer. So Kentucky's had it 3 times. Still no points in the second half as it remains deadlocked at 22-all. Jim Crisco of the Tigers moves up past the line. Bounce pass goes to White at the top rim of the circle. Pivots, then passes to Dom Merle, still deep with it. Moves to the left, goes down the middle, gets back on him, can't shoot. High pass outside to Joe White. Now deep to Crisco. He moves to the right side, then pivots, comes back out. Pass goes over to Merle as Atkins comes off the Kentucky bench. He hasn't been in the game so far. Over to Crisco, who's still deep into the left side with it. Merle got open. Calvert covers up as the pass goes to Rushing instead on the left side. Moves out to the free throw line, breaks away from Cox and lays it in. For Troy Rushing, his second field goal. LSU leads 24-22. Johnny Brewer in front court for Kentucky. Bounces one to Cox on the left side. Moves out, stumbles, picks up the ball, and White falls up on his back as he thought Cox was going to take off to shoot. Joe White committing his second foul. Earl Atkins replaces Johnny Brewer at guard for Kentucky. Atkins, 23-year-old junior from Ashland, with 17 minutes, 38 seconds to play, checks in. Atkins, 6'4", weighs 180. As Johnny Cox goes to the Kentucky free throw line, one shot coming. He's had 2 in the first half, hit 1 and missed 1. Cox shoots, misses. Krigler taps, no good. Beck knocks it out deep, and LSU's got it. Dom Merle going in against Calvert, hooks it up, no good. Sigler has it knocked away by Cox, and he slugs Cox, and here's a foul. It's going to be a double foul against Cox and Sigler. For Sigler, that's personal foul number 1. For Johnny Cox, personal foul number 2. 24-22 in favor of LSU. Atkins in the Kentucky lineup, incidentally, has 18 points this season, a 2.2 average. Best night against Georgia Tech where he got 8. Sigler's going to shoot his free throw first. His first time up, incidentally, and it's good. Now Johnny Cox of Kentucky will try to match him. Cox has had 3 tries and missed 2 of the 3. LSU right now leading by 3 points. Will jump center after the free throw by Cox. And he missed again. LSU timeout. It's the second timeout of the ball game, with LSU leading 25-22. And with a timeout, let's us take timeout for station identification. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.
WVLK, Lexington, Kentucky. The time is 8:31.
Just as was the case in the first half, Kentucky has played 2.5 minutes without a point here in the second half. To open the ball game, they fell behind 4-0 before catching up at 6-all. And now here in the second half, they've fallen behind 3-0, and it is 25-22 against them on the scoreboard. So now the warning horn sounds, and as we start the play, it'll be a jump ball in the center of the court after the double foul. On the double foul, the bonus rule does not apply. Each man is charged with a personal. So Beck and Rushing will jump center, giving Beck of Kentucky 4 inches advantage. Here's the tap going to Atkins, who fights to hold on against Crisco. Down the right side to Krigler, who breaks in against White, and an elbowing foul against Joe White of LSU is his third one. 17 minutes, 24 seconds in this ball game as John Krigler of Kentucky is on the free throw line. He's hit 1 and missed 1. Kentucky so far has missed 7 free throws. LSU's missed only 2. Krigler hits. Krigler gets the bonus shot now as the Cats trail by 2 points, 25-23. Bonus shot by Krigler. Rolls out. Cox taps. Beck taps. Rolls out. And White takes it off for LSU. The tap by Beck almost hung in there. Now Rushing of LSU has it knocked away by Beck out of bounds at the dividing line. LSU keeps possession. Crisco out of bounds. Bounce passes in the front court on the left side to Rushing. Takes a return pass as he moves down into the left corner. Pivots, high pass to Merle at the top rim of the circle. Merle sets it up, moves to the right side with Calvert on him. Waves Crisco in close to him, gives the pass, breaks against Atkins to the free throw line, then comes back outside with it. LSU leading 25-23. Crisco bounces to White, who drops it off his knee, scoops it up before he goes out of bounds, getting an underhand save pass to Crisco, to Merle, back to Crisco. Crisco deep, says, let's go. Bounce pass to Sigler, knocked away by Krigler out of bounds. LSU has possession on the right side of the offensive court, about free throw line deep. Dom Merle passes deep to Crisco, who moves across deep to the left side, pulls up abruptly, whips to White at the free throw line, turns to face back. Atkins stabs for it and misses, and White hooks to Sigler on the pivot. Pushing foul against Krigler of Kentucky is his third one, sending Rod Sigler of LSU to the free throw line for one shot. 16 minutes and 19 seconds to go. Sigler up for one. A left-hander. He hasn't missed at this free throw line. LSU pulling Crisco and Merle, the guards, back in backcourt. Shot good, and LSU again leads by 3 points. Bonus shot to Sigler as the Tigers have a 26-23 advantage. Sigler shoots. Good on the bonus shot. LSU 27, Kentucky 23. Earl Atkins to Calvert in front court. Pass back to Atkins. Down the left side to Johnny Cox, back to Atkins. He sets. Passes out to Calvert. Calvert to Atkins. High pass to Beck in the pivot. Calvert goes by, knocked away, picked up by Krigler. Outside to Atkins, who drops it, whips back to Krigler, to Beck, to Calvert. He sets, 25-footer, good. Foul on the play, and the goal is good. Personal foul against, let's see who it's on. Dom Merle of LSU is drawing the personal foul, and it's his third one of the ball game. Calvert's field goal, good. His third one cuts the LSU lead to 25-27, 2 points, and Calvert is at the free throw line. Calvert is up for one shot. 16 minutes to go. Calvert's free throw attempt is good. So Calvert makes a 3-point trip when Kentucky's trailing by 4 points, and the Cats pick up. LSU brings all 5 men in backcourt. Pass to Rushing up to Merle, who gets past the line, feeds to Rushing on the left side. Out against Johnny Cox. He stops, throws behind the back of White, moves back out and picks it up in the second hop before he goes out of bounds. Over to Dom Merle. LSU leading 27-26. Merle breaks down into the right corner. Underhands a pass out to Big Joe White. Then deep to Crisco, who gives to Sigler, in against Beck. Fall-away shots over the rim. Tapped up by Cox, taken by Atkins of Kentucky. And the Cats are running 4-on-3. Behind his back to Calvert. Hook to Atkins, who dropped the ball and picked it up. Hooks no good. Krigler taps no good. Atkins taps no good. And White rebounds for LSU. Gives to Sigler, knocked down by Atkins, picked up by Sigler. LSU back in possession, holding a 1-point lead. Dom Merle in front court. Passes out to Crisco, who moves to the left side. Pulls up free throw line deep and passes to Merle. He moves down the left side, gives to Rushing, back to Crisco, to Merle, free throw line deep to the left side. Has it knocked down by Cox, but a foul over the arms on Kentucky's Johnny Cox. So right now, Kentucky's Johnny Cox and John Krigler have 3 personal fouls each. LSU's Dom Merle and Joe White have each committed 3. And Dom Merle is on the free throw line for the first time in the ball game, shooting 1, and his shot's good. LSU takes a 2-point lead as Merle goes up for the bonus shot. Sigler and Crisco go into backcourt to cut off any attempted Kentucky fast break. Merle shoots, and it's good again. LSU leading 29-26. Atkins back in front court, picked up deep by Merle. Slaps, hits the ball twice, but can't jar it loose. Pass to Cox on the left side. Into the corner, missed by Atkins, and out of bounds to LSU. So once again, Kentucky makes the mistake, does not get the shot. Rushing of LSU drops it out of bounds. As both teams getting a little jittery right now with 14 minutes and 40 seconds to play here at Baton Rouge. Atkins on the left side to Krigler. Fakes Rushing, drives for the basket, shoots and misses. Cox rebounds wide open, lays it in. Third field goal for Johnny Cox. LSU's lead back again to 1 point, 29-28. Troy Rushing still in backcourt with it. Pivots, gives one over to Crisco. Kentucky pressing. Here's Crisco still in backcourt. Now past the dividing line just in time. Passes one down the left side that Sigler picks up in the left corner. Out to White at the free throw line. Deep to Merle now. Merle moves to the right. Faces Calvert. Then pivots, makes to Crisco going by. Hands to Rushing. Knocked down by Cox. Picked up by Crisco. Moving to the left side. Left open for a moment. Doesn't shoot. Bounces out to Rushing. In the pivot to Sigler, spins on Krigler and shoots. No good. Dom Merle rebounds for LSU, lays it up. No good. Beck rebounds for Kentucky. Pass to Johnny Cox moving in front court quickly down the left side. Pulls up at the baseline, goes into the left corner. 2 men go for him. Looks for somebody open and gives to Calvert. Calvert over to Atkins. Down the right side to Krigler. Moves out. Underhands a 2-handed pass to Calvert. Down the left side to Cox. He's open. Jump shot. No good. Off the rim, LSU. Picking it up. Crisco. And with 13 and a half minutes to play, the Tigers still lead 29-28. Merle gets it down the right side to White. Outside to Crisco. Down the right side to Sigler. Sigler passes across the front lines to Dom Merle. He gets to Crisco on a handoff at the crisscross. On the left side, Crisco pulls up, gives a pass to Merle with Atkins slapping for it. Calvert goes through and fouls. Calvert, trying to steal from Dom Merle, has committed his second foul of the game, and timeout, Kentucky. It's the first Kentucky timeout of the ball game. 13 minutes and 5 seconds to play. With the score, LSU 29, Kentucky 28, and Dom Merle of the Tigers is on the free throw line, and he hasn't missed. The difference is at the free throw line, where LSU has missed only 2 shots in 11 tries. Kentucky, meanwhile, has missed 8 free throws. Kentucky so far has had 16 chances, and they've hit only half of them, as LSU leads on, it's tied up right now on field goal production. LSU's Troy Rushing has the only LSU field goal of the second half, but the Tigers have hit all 5 of their free throw opportunities and lead Kentucky by 1 point, 29-28. Well, this is an unexpectedly close game, as the Tigers, coming out in the zone, have played the Wildcats right on even terms in keeping the ball out of play and taking nothing but the real good shot. We've had only 3 times out. This one is Kentucky's first. And Kentucky's using it to the fullest. Just now breaking huddle, as LSU had to march the full length of the court. Coach Adolph Rupp, whatever he had to say, used all available time. And so now Dom Merle of LSU stands at the free throw line. 1-and-1 situation. Merle has not missed. He sights, quickly shoots, and misses. Krigler, high, beautiful rebound for Kentucky as it spills up deep in the alley to Beck to Atkins in front court. Atkins mows in. Merle stabs for the ball, can't get it to Calvert, to Beck in the pivot. They both go by. Pass to Atkins, who's tied up with it by Sigler. So they'll jump at the Kentucky free throw line. Atkins at 6'4" will have 1-inch height advantage for Kentucky. 12 minutes and 54 seconds to play. LSU with a 1-point lead. Here's the tap, goes to Krigler of Kentucky. Outside to Calvert, 25-foot set. It bounces off. Tapped by Beck, but picked up by Sigler of LSU, and Krigler fell over his back. For John Krigler, it is his 4th personal foul. Krigler is the first one for either team to pick up his 4th personal. 12 minutes, 49 seconds to go, and Roger Sigler is on the LSU free throw line. Sigler has not missed. As the Tigers lead 29-28. Sigler shoots. He got it. LSU takes a 2-point lead, 30-28. Kentucky has not had it tied up in the second half since LSU broke the 22-all halftime deadlock. Bonus shot good by Sigler. LSU again leads by 3 points, 31-28. They one time had a 4-point lead in this half. Cox gets it on the right side, gives to Calvert, down the left side to Atkins, breaks out, takes a jump shot from 10 feet and hits it. Earl Atkins gets his first field goal of the game. He's the 6th Kentuckian to score, and it's 31-30 for LSU. Dom Merle gets in front court, gets loose, moving down the left side. Krigler turns him out. Deep pass goes to Rushing to Crisco. LSU setting it up to the right side with Crisco moving down, then backing away from Sigler. Bounce pass to Sigler on the right side. Without a bounce, he gives it out to Dom Merle. Merle moves back to his left. Crisco goes through, gets the pass, shoots. No good, rolls off the rim to Earl Atkins of Kentucky. Mows out with it, gives to Calvert. Up in front court to Krigler on the right side. Breaks against White. Pulls up, double team, gives to Calvert to Atkins. Breaks to the left, 20-foot jump shot. Blocked, but caught by Krigler short of the basket, and he's fouled from the rear by Jim Crisco. Jim Crisco committing his 2nd personal foul of the game. 11 minutes and 56 seconds to go as Kentucky's John Krigler has a chance to tie up this ball game. Krigler's had 4 free throws, hit 2 and missed 2. Here's Krigler. Important one's coming, and he hits it. So it's tied up 31-all, as each team has scored 9 points here in the second half. We've had only 4 field goals, incidentally. Krigler's bonus shot, good, and Kentucky has come on top 32-31. LSU being picked up in backcourt. Now it's passed over to Rushing, who almost falls with it, holds on as he just gets into front court. Beck picks him up. High pass cut off by Krigler from Joe White of LSU. Double team, backs away and holds on. Krigler moves up in front court, passes left side to Cox, out to Calvert, to Beck, to the right side to Atkins as he jumps to shoot. A 3-second violation by Ed Beck, and the ball goes over to LSU without a Kentucky shot. 11 and a half minutes in the ball game. Kentucky leading 32-31. Up in front court with it. Pass to the right side to Sigler. Breaks toward the baseline. Turns, hooks a pass back to Crisco. Crisco to Sigler. Deep into the right side. Hands to Crisco, moving out. LSU has made no substitutions in the game. Kentucky's made 2. Out deep, Dom Merle gets the pass. Breaks to the right side. Stumbles, falls, goes to the floor. 2 men roll on him. Krigler knocks it down, and Beck picks it up. Across the way to Johnny Cox. Almost in front court for the catch. On the side to Atkins, who drops it, picks it up, goes under the basket with it, and walks out of bounds to LSU. So the last 3 times possession has been had, nobody got a shot away. Sigler of LSU gets it just in backcourt, passes over the line to Dom Merle. Down in the right corner to Joe White, back to Merle on the right side. He moves out to the top of the circle, fakes to Crisco going by, then passes to him on the right side. He moves out, hooks to Dom Merle. Merle on the screen, moves to the left side, turned away, gives to Rushing. Rushing looks down the middle, starts. Atkins cut him off, hooks a pass to Sigler, moves against Calvert, who ties him up beautifully. A quick left-handed move from the rear by Krigler. Pulled the ball in against Sigler, where he could get a hold of it. Both boys stand 6'3", jumping at the LSU free throw line. 10 minutes, 23 seconds to play here in Baton Rouge. Kentucky with a 1-point lead. Krigler taps. White of LSU gets it. It's kicked out of bounds off the foot of Dom Merle. Calvert out of bounds right here in front of us. Passes into Earl Atkins. He moves up in front court for the Wildcats, holding a 1-point lead. Bounce pass to Beck in the pivot. Spins away from White and lays it in. Ed Beck with his first field goal of the ball game and 4th point. Makes it 34-31 for Kentucky as Dom Merle gets back in front court for LSU. Calls Crisco in close quarters to him, gives him the pass. Kentucky was down 31-28. They've come up with 6 points. Here's Cox knocking it away from Rushing, but picked up on the fly by Crisco, given to Merle. Cuts down the middle, pulls up and shoots over Cox, no good. Beck taps it away to the outside and picked up by Atkins, who's hit in the eye. Atkins trying to call timeout, and let's see. And it's an official's timeout. Somebody for the Tigers slapped viciously for the ball and hit Earl Atkins right in the eye. Atkins, incidentally, wears contact lens. It's an official's timeout. We do not know who's in possession of the ball. We'll have to see. Atkins could not see the ball as he apparently was blinded by the lick in the eye, and he was trying to call timeout since he couldn't find the ball. It's an official's timeout, but of course possession will be an important thing with 9 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Well, here's an important halftime score. There's another upset in the making tonight. Kansas State is leading Kansas in apparently much the same type of game we got going here in Baton Rouge. Halftime, Kansas State 26, Kansas 22. And at the half, Detroit leads St. Louis by 1 point. Detroit 41, St. Louis 40. Halftime, Indiana leading Purdue by 3 points. Indiana 36, Purdue 33. Halftime, Duke leads Clemson by 1 point. Duke 35, Clemson 34. Halftime, Bucknell and Lafayette are 27 all, and a final score, Wake Forest beats South Carolina 75-71. Kentucky's got possession as Cassidy in to replace Atkins, gets it in front court to Cox, out to Calvert. High pass to Beck on the free throw line. Moves to his left, a whistle. He walked with it out of bounds to LSU. So once again, Kentucky unable to get a shot. Picking up in backcourt. Dom Merle gets the ball against Calvert. Fakes right, comes left, gets away. Pulls up at the free throw line, gives to White. Jump shot good. Joe White of LSU with his second field goal. Makes it 34-33. Kentucky now with a 1 point lead. Calvert tries one to Beck. It's knocked down. Picked up by Cassidy. Can't hold on. Merle's got it for LSU. Drives into the free throw line. Flips out to Rushing. Moving to the right side. Pulls up, gives to Sigler. Against Krigler, he takes a jump shot that's over the rim. Knocked down by Beck, who fights his way out to get it. Can't do it. Hits the floor. Flies into backcourt as Rushing picks it up for LSU. Fans give him a cheer for the try. In the pivot to Sigler, who drops it, comes outside and gets it. Krigler slaps and misses. Lob pass out to Troy Rushing on the right side. Kentucky with a 1 point lead, 34-33. 8 minutes and 35 seconds to play. Crisco moves down the left side, gives off to Rushing at the top of the circle, then over to Sigler as they go into a full court weave. Crisco pulls up with it in the free throw line, out to Rushing, back to Crisco, deep into the right side. Merle with Cassidy on him, moving in, then backing away. Bounce pass goes to Sigler, spins, hooks, misses, foul, however, against Krigler of Kentucky, and that is 5 on Krigler, who fouls out of the ball game with 8 minutes and 15 seconds to play. Krigler fouls out with 6 points. Krigler has hit 4 out of 6 free throws and 1 field goal. So Krigler gets his 5th personal foul. Earl Atkins with a towel, still blotting the right eye on the Kentucky bench. Atkins and Cassidy have been the only 2 reserves in the ball game, but now we're getting number 3 with 8 minutes 15 seconds to play. Adrian Smith, who's known to his teammates as Odie, 19-year-old junior from Farmington. He's 6 feet, weighs 178. Had his big night against Maryland when he scored 6. For the season, Smith has scored 18 points, averaging 2.5 a ball game. So we've had 3 substitutes in the game, all of them by Kentucky. As we go back to play, Roger Sigler's on the LSU free throw line. Sigler's up for 2 shots this time. Ready for his first one. Kentucky has a 1-point lead as the southpaw hits it. It's tied up 34-all. We've seen a 3-point Kentucky lead melt away now, and Sigler, who hasn't missed at that free throw line, has a chance to give LSU the lead. He does. LSU down by 3 points has come on top, 35-34. Calvert gets it in front court for Kentucky. He's running at guard with Adrian Smith as Cassidy is moved to a forward. Bounce pass to Beck on the pivot, deep. Takes a 20-foot jump shot, and it's no good to the left. Taps it up in the air, and Merle of LSU scoops it out. Into the last 8 minutes of the ball game now. LSU leading 35-34. Crisco in front court against Adrian Smith. Bounces to Sigler on the right side. Back to Crisco. Breaks in. Has it knocked down by Smith. Dropped out of bounds by Rushing, who almost had it saved. Pass into Calvert. Right back over to Smith. Smith moves up past the dividing line for the Wildcats. Spins away from Crisco. Gives him the right side to Bill Cassidy. Out front to Smith again. A 1-bounce dribble. In the pivot to Beck. Back to Calvert. Going through the zone. Dropped the ball, and it's picked up by Rushing of LSU. A 1-bounce dribble and up the way to Dom Merle. Merle past the dividing line is picked up by Calvert now. LSU still leading 35-34 as Kentucky did not get a shot that trip down the court. Hand off to Crisco. Spins away. Smith picks him up and turns him to the outside. Crisco slapping the ball as he stands outside with it. Now gives one in the pivot, and Beck takes away from Joe White. Whips to Adrian Smith, who dropped the ball, but Cox picks it up, breaking for the basket, and has it knocked out of bounds. Troy Rushing knocked it away from him, and Kentucky will put it in play over the baseline to the left of the basket. We're into the last 7 minutes as Ed Beck stands over the baseline, calls his play, passes out to Adrian Smith. He moves to the free throw line, goes down the middle, and as he jumps to shoot, he's fouled by LSU's Roger Sigler. Second foul against Sigler of LSU. Adrian Smith, who hasn't scored, goes to the Kentucky free throw line for 1 shot. 6 minutes and 48 seconds in this ball game. Smith with a chance to tie up a 35-34 game. Smith sights, quickly shoots and misses. Cox knocks it down, but it's picked up by LSU's Roger Sigler. Over to Crisco, almost back in front court for the Tigers. Pulls up very deep near the dividing line. Passes one down the left side. That's dropped by Rushing and kicked out of bounds. Goes to Kentucky. Adrian Smith out of bounds. Passes in to Bill Cassidy. Hands it off to Calvert, and Kentucky trailing by 1 point in possession. In front court to Adrian Smith. A 1-bounce dribble over to Calvert to Beck at the top of the circle. He pivots, moves in, over to Cassidy to the right side. Breaks against Sigler and shoots good. Bill Cassidy with his first field goal of the game gives Kentucky the lead, 36-35, and timeout LSU. Third LSU timeout of the game. Well, it looks most certainly like we're going to go right down to the wire with this game in Baton Rouge tonight. Kentucky 36, LSU 35. 6 minutes, 15 seconds to play. Here in the second half, Kentucky has 5 field goals. Cassidy, Atkins, Beck, Cox, and Calvert hitting them. LSU has only 2 field goals. Rushing and White have hit them, but the Tigers have been death at that free throw line so far. They've hit 9 out of 10, and right now trail by just 1 point. Well, we've so far had 4 times out, 3 of them by LSU. Coach Adolph Rupp talking it over quickly with his Wildcats off to our right here. LSU is in possession under the Kentucky basket as we get ready to go back to play. Kentucky still has not broken huddle. The substitutes move back toward their spot on the bench. And the Wildcats are coming back. Adrian Smith and Calvert, the 2 guards, move down into backcourt to pick up on Merle, who's out of bounds for the ball. Passes her in to Crisco, who's got Calvert on him going under the Kentucky basket. Gives over to Dom Merle. Calvert picks up on him, driving into front court. Calvert pushed him, and it's the third foul on Jerry Calvert of Kentucky. 6 minutes and 9 seconds. As Dom Merle goes to the LSU free throw line. He's hit 2 out of 3. LSU, incidentally, had only 6 free throws in the first half. They've had 10 in this half already. Here's Merle shooting, hits, and the ball game is tied up 36-all. Now Merle, who goes back to the free throw line for a bonus shot, has a chance to give LSU the lead. He sights the shots. No good. Tapped by White. No good. Taken off by Rushing of LSU into the left corner for a one-hander that bounces off of the rim, and Beck's got it for Kentucky, but White knocks it out of bounds. Beck fires her into Adrian Smith. Cross away to Calvert, moving in front court. Picked up by Merle. He moves to the right and gets clear. Pulls up, gives to Cassidy on the right side. A one-bounce dribble and out to Calvert. LSU getting aggressive now defensively. Down the left side to Cox, out to Smith. Smith moves in, gives a pass to Beck at the pivot. Back to Calvert going into the zone. Over to Cox. He's open from 10 feet to the left and hits a jump shot. Johnny Cox gets his 4th field goal. That equals the 4 of Roger Sigler, and Kentucky leads 38 to 36. Here's Crisco in front court for LSU over to Merle. Down the right side to Sigler. Juggles the ball. Gives it out to Crisco. Back to Merle. He moves down the right side with Adrian Smith on him. Slips. Hands to White in the pivot. Out to the top of the circle to Crisco. Crisco backs away now to move out with 5 minutes, 15 seconds to play. Crisco deep. Moves down the left side where Johnny Cox picks up on him. Out to Rushing to Dom Merle. Merle at the top of the circle. Drives into the free throw line. Pivots. Gives over to Rushing on the left side. One-hander. Good. Troy Rushing, 3rd field goal. Ball game tied up. 38-all as we move into the last 5 minutes. Adrian Smith of Kentucky back in front court. High pass to Beck. Calvert goes by. Passes Cox on the left side. Here's the jump shot. In and out. Moving in. Rushing. Gets the rebound for LSU. And with the score tied, the Tigers have the ball. Rushing double team. Gives the ball over on the side now. And out to the top of the circle. It's given over to Crisco. Moves in near the left corner with Adrian Smith on him. Bounce pass to Rushing. Down the middle. Lays it in. Troy Rushing has picked up 2 quick field goals, and LSU goes on top 40 to 38 with 4.5 minutes to play. Adrian Smith of Kentucky in front court to Johnny Cox on the left side. Breaks to the corner, gives to Smith. A one-bounce dribble. High pass out to Jerry Calvert. In the pivot to Beck. Beck moves, 15-foot jump shot. Off the rim, no good. White of LSU rebounds. Passes over to Rushing. Up the way to Merle, moving in front court. He's got wide open, and nobody touches him as he lays it in. Now LSU leads 42 to 38, and it's timeout Kentucky. Well, something went wrong with the Wildcats for just a few brief seconds. As the scoreboard now shows LSU in front, 42 to 38, and 4 minutes, 2 seconds to play. The Wildcats had the lead at 40 to 38. That's when LSU, or rather 38 to 36, that was when Rushing hit 2 quick field goals to give the Tigers the lead, 40 to 38, and now we've had Merle break away to go in. Well, Earl Atkins, who had to be lifted after being hit in the eye, is back in the ball game. Adrian Smith is coming out, and for the first time in the game, Ray Mills checks in to give Adolph Rupp more rebounding strength. LSU's been dominating the boards here in the last few minutes. Mills, a 23-year-old senior from Manchester who came up from Clay County High School, is 6'4", weighs 199. Mills averaging 5.9 a game with 47 points. Has scored against Duke and Loyola his best, 11 points in each game. Well, Kentucky is in trouble as they have the ball under the LSU basket, trailing by 4 points, 42 to 38. On the matter of field goals in this half, Kentucky has been able to pick up 6 and LSU 5. Each team has 14 field goals. The difference is on the free throw line, where LSU's hit 10 out of 12. And Kentucky has picked up only 4 points in this half of play at the free throw line. Well, still a lot of time to play, 4 minutes and 2 seconds. And for Kentucky, we have Ray Mills and Johnny Cox at the forwards, Earl Atkins, Jerry Calvert out at the guards. Now Beck is out of there as Mills goes to the pivot. High pass goes to Cassidy, back out to Calvert as we're back to play. Calvert a one-bounce dribble down the right side to Earl Atkins. Over to Calvert in the pivot to Ray Mills. Spins, gives to Cox. And a 20-foot jump shot, good. Johnny Cox with his 5th field goal of the game, more than anybody else in either team, makes it 42-40. LSU with a 2-point lead. Dom Merle in backcourt now crosses the 10-second line against Ray Mills. Gives over to Crisco, who's got Atkins on him. Back over to Dom Merle, moving to the right side as Sigler comes out deep. Merle moves back out front with it. Hands over to Crisco, moving to the right, near the right side. Gives back to Dom Merle. 3 minutes and 20 seconds in this ball game. LSU with a 2-point lead. Dom Merle to Crisco, moving to the right side, staying deep with it. The middle is cleared. Now Joe White takes a pivot post at the free throw line. Merle moves to the right side, goes down the side where Cassidy picks up on him, calls for somebody and finds Sigler out deep. Hands right back to Merle. There are 3 minutes to go. LSU 42, Kentucky 40. Calvert takes the ball away from Merle. It's picked up by Atkins, who goes in wide open and got it. A steal by Calvert as he knocked it down, and Atkins picked it up driving to tie the ball game up 42-all. And here is Merle throwing it in with his foot on the baseline, and Kentucky gets the ball under its own basket. Dom Merle of LSU trying to put it in too quickly, so we're tied up. 2 minutes, 40 seconds to go as Ray Mills out of bounds, looks for somebody open, passes in the left corner to Calvert, out to Earl Atkins, who spins into the 3-second zone, picks it up and shoots. The shot no good, tapped in by Ray Mills. Ray Mills with his first field goal has put Kentucky on top, 44-42. 2 minutes, 25 seconds to go as it is Crisco in LSU front court. Out deep with it, pivoting, firing over to Big Joe White. White breaks to the left with Mills on him, hands off to Rushing. 15-foot jump shot, it's short off the rim to Ray Mills of Kentucky. He flips over to Cassidy, hands to Calvert. Kentucky slowing it down in the back court now. Up it goes in front court to Earl Atkins, deep into the left side. Atkins a bounce pass in the pivot to Mills, knocked away, picked up by Atkins, a whistle at the baseline, and a foul against Joe White of LSU is his 4th one. Clock stopped with 2 minutes, 2 seconds to play. Kentucky leading 44-42. Earl Atkins on the free throw line. First time he's been on that spot in the ball game. Atkins has got one try coming. Atkins plays it with the feet close together. Kentucky with a 2-point lead. Atkins sights the shot. It's no good. Taken off by Mills, but it's knocked away. He picks it up, gives to Calvert. Jump shot, no good. Tapped up by Mills, no good. By Atkins, no good. Rebounded Mills, shoots, knocked to the floor. Atkins picks it up, and he's tied up before he can shoot by Troy Rushing of LSU. 1 minute, 53 seconds to go as the clock stops. Kentucky 44, LSU 42. Ray Mills stands out of bounds, but it's a jump ball situation. Mills at 6'4", has 1-inch height advantage on 6'3", Troy Rushing at the Kentucky free throw line. The tap down on the floor taken by Cassidy, fights to hold on. He gets it out to Calvert. Calvert passes down the side to Bill Cassidy. He moves out deep with it and hands to Calvert. Calvert high pass over to Atkins on the left side. Moves in, 20-foot jump shot. It's good. Earl Atkins gets another one. His 3rd field goal of the game, and Kentucky leads 46-42. Joe White of LSU still in backcourt with it. Has it knocked down, picked up by Earl Atkins. Atkins moves back in against him, gives over to Mills, and a hook shot. It is no good, drops off. Picked up by Calvert. He tries to hook. It's knocked off, but he slaps it back into Johnny Cox. Cox moves out, double team, turns, shoots. He missed it. Comes off to Cox again. He hooks it up, and the shot is no good. Atkins rebounds, turns, and lays it in. Earl Atkins with his 4th field goal makes it 48-42 Kentucky, and Calvert steals. Throws it off the heel of somebody. It rolls in the floor, and Cox is grabbed by Rushing of LSU as he went for the ball. 3rd personal foul against Troy Rushing. 1 minute, 3 seconds to play. Kentucky timeout. 3rd timeout of the ball game for each team. So 1 minute, 3 seconds to go as Kentucky takes their 3rd timeout. And let us take timeout for station identification. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.
WVLK, Lexington, Kentucky.
Once again, this is Claude Sullivan speaking from the Coliseum in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where with 1 minute, 3 seconds to play, Kentucky leads 48-42. 6-point advantage equals Kentucky's longest previous lead of the game. And it came at a time when Kentucky was down 42-38. And with a timeout, the Cats picked up 10 points, sparked by the tremendous play of Earl Atkins, who has picked up 4 field goals in the second half, more than anybody else. And as we go back to play, Johnny Cox is on the free throw line. Kentucky, which called the timeout, is just now moving back toward the free throw line. Kentucky's lowest point total so far this season has been well above this, the 56 points against Virginia Tech. So now Johnny Cox stands at the Kentucky free throw line, where he has hit 1 and missed 3. Cox has one try coming. 6'4" sophomore had the ball, and it's taken away and handed back to him as Kentucky decides to juggle rebounding positions. Cox, feet wide apart, shoots, short. Mills taps, and tapped in then by Cassidy. Bill Cassidy knocks in his second field goal to Cats lead by 8 points as Sigler drops the ball moving into the left corner for LSU with 54 seconds to play. He gives to Crisco, who takes a jump shot that's off the rim and out of bounds to Kentucky. Kentucky leading 50-42, 46 seconds to go. And out of bounds with it, Atkins gives a pass into Bill Cassidy. Cassidy, a left-hander, moves up, gets past the dividing line, has it taken away by Dom Merle, and Merle goes in without anybody near him and lays it in for LSU. Dom Merle gets his third field goal, and with 34 seconds to go, the pass is in again to Cassidy. Up the way to Calvert, moving in front court with 30 seconds to play, and Kentucky holding a lead of 6 points. Calvert moves into the free throw line, spins, comes back out with it, looks at Cassidy, spins away from Merle, and flips over to Earl Atkins. Atkins goes into a crouch, and a foul is called against Dom Merle of LSU. It's his 4th personal foul. Stops the clock with 19 seconds to play. On the line, Earl Atkins, who's had one try in this half and missed it. 19 seconds to play. Atkins up now, the 6'4" junior from Ashland. Shoots, misses. White of LSU rebounds. Whips it up the way to Crisco, to Dom Merle. Breaks in wide open and got it. Dom Merle with his 4th field goal, 2 of them here in a row. Cuts Kentucky's lead to 4 points, 8 seconds to go. Passed into Cassidy. Back over to Calvert, moving up the backcourt. 5 seconds as he gives to Mills, who breaks for the basket, and White fouled him. Joe White of LSU fouls out of the ball game with 2 seconds to play. Each man has lost a player. Each team, rather, has lost a man by personal fouls. Krigler of Kentucky fouled out with 8 minutes, 15 seconds to play. Now Joe White, the 6'6" LSU center, fouls out with 2 seconds to play. He incidentally has 4 points, more than he's ever scored against Kentucky, and he's a senior now. Ray Mills of Kentucky is on the free throw line, as that incidentally brings on LSU's Lynn Moon, the first LSU substitution of the ball game. Ray Mills at the free throw line hits his first free throw try of the game and draws the bonus shot, and Kentucky holds a lead of 5 points, 51-46. Mills back at the line, puts the right foot up on the mark, shoots. It's no good. Back down the alley. Cox slaps it up there. No good. And the ball game is over without another shot, and the Cats explode in the closing minutes of play. And it is 51-46 as Coach Harry Ravenhorst, who has produced his 29th LSU team, has failed to beat Kentucky. But it is another stirring Kentucky-LSU battle as the Kentucky Wildcats trail 4 points when they call timeout in the closing minutes of play. Right out in the center court jump circle now, almost Adolph Rupp. Here comes assistant coach Harry Lancaster. Harry, could you tell us what changes were made in the lineup and so forth when you were behind 4 points and called the timeout?
Well, Claude, our kids were tired. We had to get some fresh men in there. Ed Beck had absolutely fought himself off his feet, and we put Ray Mills in, who was fresh, and Ray did a good job. We would have had Ray in earlier, but we felt he could only cope with the postman. The other kid was too clever for him. Atkins, of course, did a tremendous job in the 2 times that he was in there tonight. It was purely a defensive thing. We had to go out the second half and pick them up and try to make them play basketball, because actually all they wanted to do was control the ball, hold it, wait for the crip shot, and we could have been here all night at about 12-12.
Well, Harry, thank you very much. You sound like you were yelling your instructions tonight.
Just a wee bit.
Harry Lancaster giving you the information there on that change that Adolph Rupp made. And once again, there is Adolph Rupp pulling down in his bag of tricks. When trailing by 4 points, the Cats in real trouble as they call timeout with 4 minutes and 6 seconds to go. They rattled off 10 straight points, led by the stellar play of Ray Mills and Earl Atkins, who were inserted during the timeout. And the Cats moved out with a 10-point spurt while holding LSU scoreless and take the victory 51-46. We'll have the individual scoring in just a moment. Seniors lead the average basketball team.